Good morning, everyone. It's 8:36 in the morning on the 5th of January 2021. It's the second trading day in your traditional markets. And what I want to do is I want to take a look at the S&P 500. I want to take a look at Nasdaq, and I also want to take a look at Bitcoin. These three assets are the driving force behind a lot of what we do. So I want to take a look at all of this stuff. And of course, before I get into any of it, as you all know, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and I'm just giving my opinion on the market. That's all. If you want to have access to our Discord, if you don't have access to the Discord, just scan the QR code that you see here on your screen. You can use the link inside of the video description to get access to that, where I share information all day long. We have a great group of people. We're focused on education. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get into the charts. Okay, so I'm taking a look at the S&P 500. I'm looking here on the hourly. Okay, so this is what I think is going to happen today. Just a couple things to note, and I'm using my indicator. So again, if you have access to the Discord, you have access to the indicator as long as you're one of our members. Just taking a look at this, we look to be topping out in some way here. Just taking a look at this, it did look quite a bit like we were going to be topping out here at 37.70. And we got up to 37.75, and we've rejected from there. Do I think we're done? Actually, no, I don't. I actually think we are going to come back down here. I don't think we're going to come down here straight away, though. I don't think it's going to happen immediately. I guess we'll find out once the day starts here in about 42 minutes. Actually 52 minutes. But anyway, what I think is more than likely what's happening here, I think we are in the middle of a complex correction. I don't know if we're going to come all the way down here to 355. We really do need to find ourselves up here at about 37.14. This area, I think, is where more than likely we're going to see another rejection. So I'm being careful about the positions that I take. But let me just go into this on a 15-minute time frame and just kind of dig this out for you guys. All right, so from the top, right, this looks to me a little bit like a leading diagonal. So this guy right here, we're just kind of falling in a little bit of a channel here before eventually falling deeper, right? This was seen at the time as a bull flag, and then you can see here once the day opened, which was right here, we just fell and we just continued to drop for a few hours. This I think is kind of like a wave one. Didn't really have any kind of a pullback for wave 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's what I think this actually is. So we'll call this a 1, 2, and then down here's our 3. We go up for the 4. This happened very, very fast, and then we go down for the 5. I think this completed that move. Then from this drop, I think we correct, right? So what I think I see here, and let me go down to a 5-minute just so that we can dig this out. All right, so on a 5-minute, it's a little more clear. From down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5 could be here, the 5 could be over here. One way or another, we've got a 5 up here. All right, and even going down, as we've discussed in some of our classes. Good morning, Todd, how are you? As we've discussed in some of our classes for the Discord, we've discussed that in Elliott Wave, you can go down deeper. Like I'm on a 5-minute time frame. If I went down to a lower time frame, I think I could probably dig a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and even down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish this move. So I think this is ideal for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what does that mean then? Well, that means more than likely this is an A, okay? Because I think we're in the middle of a corrective pattern. After a big drop like this, I think this is 5 waves down as part of an A, 5 waves up as an A on a lesser degree. So we've got the A. Maybe this is the B. Maybe this is the B. But one way or another, we've got a B that's in the works. Then we go up for our C, okay? So let's just take a look at this. We're going to pull out our fib from the dominant pivot low to the somewhat dominant pivot high up here, and let's just see what we've got. We came right down to the 50, down to the 50 again. It's possible we come down here to the 618. Okay, so it's possible, let's just say this is the 5 up here, which would complete our wave A. Keeping in mind, this is an A down here on a larger degree, and then we're working on the A, B, C on the smaller degree. So I think we still have a little bit more of a corrective move to go, and keeping in mind I'm on a 5-minute chart. Okay, at the open, if we spike down here to 36.72, I would be interested in scalping a long position down here and closing it out somewhere up here. And I'm going to use one more tool, and again, we did a class yesterday on our Discord talking through this, so hopefully this is going to make a little bit more sense. Using my trend-based fib extension, I'm going to do it over here on the right, so it's not overlapping too much. Looking left, down at the bottom, dominant pivot low to our dominant pivot high, and let's say we do get that pull back to the 618. All right, so looking at this, wave C more than likely is going to come up here to the 100, which if we do come down here to the 618, well, 37.25 sure looks like a fantastic top. That's going to be at the 100. Maybe it makes its way up here to the 123.6. That would be that area where I would be looking to close that long position. I'd be looking to close it up here, and this would be up at about 37.38. That's entering inside of our red box. Looking left, let's take a look at this 100, which is the negative 382. I like to look at that negative 236, but let's look at the negative 382 because that would line up very nicely with a 100% expansion with the equality from wave A down to where the end of wave B potentially could be. And I say potentially because obviously we haven't come down to the 618, but if we do, I would take that and take it up to the 100. But that negative 236, that's going to be lingering out there. That's, if you're looking left, you've got a lot of support and resistance flips that occurred in this level. So you had some resistance, had some support, and I assume if I looked left a little bit more, extending this beyond, there's some more resistance. So this level here at that negative 236, regardless of whether we get to the 618 or not, that negative 236 is sitting up there at 37.18. That's an area that I would be concerned. Probably will fade starting at 37.18. And when I say fade, just in case you're not familiar with the term, I'll be interested in scalping along down here at 36.72. And that means I'm going to start selling at 37.18 to 37.25. If we get up here to 37.38, well, that's when I'm going to be going short. Okay, I am keeping a lot of equity positions open just because, let me go back to the hourly for a moment here. Let me go to the hourly and kind of zoom in just a little bit here. If we're taking a look at the oscillators, so the 3 hours actually signaling that we're getting close to being oversold. If you take a look at the hourly, it indicates that we could come back down. So it could be some time before we get down here to this B. It may be that it doesn't happen today. It may be that we just continue to chop for a while, which would be okay because it would allow that hourly to reset a little bit and get down there. Now the daily, of course, flipped bearish. The trend, as far as the index goes, is currently down. Now, the market was down significantly yesterday, but a lot of the trades that we were in actually performed very well. We were in INO, we were in Moderna, we were in several others that were actually doing pretty good. We were doing pretty good while the markets were tanking, which is why it's not too dangerous to take positions as long as you are in in decent trades. So, but anyway, so this does look like a corrective move here. It looks like on the lowest degree, it looks like we're in the middle of some kind of an A, B, C on the lowest degree. Change the color, make it look. I'm not going to use cyan. I'm going to go ahead and use white for this guy. All right, looks like we want to move our way down here, and that would be okay. So taking this, a stop loss for something like this, let me just kind of put this on here, knowing that I'm going to be taking some kind of a levered ETF. Taking this guy, starting to fade up at that negative 236, that's, a 1.23% move, which would be like a 2.75% move. probably be putting that stop loss, somewhere down here because we don't want it to dip much further below that 618. And if it does, you get out, right? So we're basically risking like 37% for a potential for getting, almost 4%. 3.75%. If you're fading it up to 100, that's going to be your 1.45. So that's why I'm saying that, you're really looking to get this at about 4% at the end of the day. Then we'll take a look at a short up here at that 123.6, assuming it gets up there. If it doesn't, then we don't get our setup. But one more thing, right? So first, what I've done so far here is I've measured the Fibonacci from the bottom here to our current internal retracement top, looking for a pullback to the 618, trying to find our upside target right up here at this 100, starting to shave some off the negative 236. But let's take one more fib pull, right? And this is why people criticize technical analysis so much, because like, this is so complicated, there's so much on here. But once you step through it, it makes sense. Dominant pivot high to the dominant pivot low, dominant pivot high to the dominant pivot low. What is right here at the 100? It's the 618 in the opposite direction, okay? So that is, that's more confluence that we may not get up to that 236, but it's more confluence to get out of the longs up here. Up here at 372, 373. Downside target, where's that negative 236? Well, it's going to be sitting down here at 36.24. All right, so let's just say that, we take this up here to that negative 236, and then we take a short position up here at the 618. All right, we do a stop loss. Maybe we do it up here at that negative 236, but look at where we're going to be taking this guy. That's going to be, a 2.76. That's almost 10% using our levered token, using our levered asset. So it's possible to make money both ways. We get this guy down here, assuming that we make it. We're going to be looking for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, getting ourselves up here. And then we're going to be taking a look for, it's going to take a while to get down here, right? This could be that it happens on or around January 15th. So just kind of throwing that out there. Obviously, we're looking for this to go up a little bit higher. The waves, obviously, I'm just kind of throwing this out there. But at any rate, I do believe that we are going to eventually go lower before we go higher. The trend is definitely still up on a higher degree. Like if you take a look at this on like a daily chart, this is still pretty darn bullish if you ask me. Right, we're all the way up here. We're talking about a correction. I know this looks like garbage, but the trend is still up. We're just consolidating up here above this red zone. Right, we were talking about this red zone as well. So that's going to be this zone down here. We're keeping an eye on it because that's also where the 382 is. Maybe we find ourselves down here at the 382. I tend to believe we're probably going to find some support up here around the 236. Just my opinion. Okay. That's enough about the S&P 500. That's what I think is going to happen there. Let's take a look at Nasdaq. Let's see what this guy is doing. I'm going to go to a 15-minute time frame. Again, looking at this, it's a little clearer on this. All right, so from up here, from on the top, it looks like we have a clear 1, 2, and then we've got the 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's just see here. Taking this from the top, I'm going to do this over here on the side. From the top to the bottom, we've got that 618 here at 12.8, 12.8, and let's take this guy from the bottom to the top here. Right now it's sitting at the 50, which, Nasdaq was a little stronger. We only got to the 382, but now we're finding ourselves at the 50. If you remember, the S&P 500 currently is at the 50. This one looks like it wants to find its way to the 618. Again, that negative 236 is really close to that 618. So very, very similar. Very similar. Taking a look at this guy, finding some support here at the 618 would be ideal. Maybe we don't, which is why we have a stop loss. You don't want to give yourself a whole lot. Maybe you give yourself 0.2%, which would be 0.6 with the levered asset. We're talking about using the 3x bull tokens here. Taking this guy up here to that negative 236, fading it up here to that 618, 1.5, so you're really talking about 4.5% potential gain on that trade, assuming it works out. Then from there, we're talking about going down a little bit further, down here to about 12.4. 12.4, and I happen to have a line there. So let's just see where that lines up. It looks like it's part of my trend-based fib extension tool. Go to an hourly here. And so we've been looking at this for a while. 1, 2, working on the 3, right? So I don't think that the 3 is in, but I think that we're in the middle of a 1, 2, 3, working on the 4. Then we go up for the 5, which would complete wave 3. Okay, so from up here, you can see a correction, 2, and then we've got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 3, down for the 4. We go up for the 5. So yeah, we're talking about swinging both ways, but I still think ultimately we are going to be moving a little bit higher. More than likely, for the next 10 calendar days, we're probably just going to end up moving sideways in this range for a while. But finding ourselves some support down here is ideal for us to find some support right here at this 12,400 level. It would make a whole lot of sense looking left. We have a top here at 12.4, 12.5. We have a top here at about the same area, 12.425 or so. So coming back down here would make a whole lot of sense to find some support right there at 12.421 before we do find ourselves moving up higher to complete, or at least work on completing, what we have in here as our wave 3. So we'll have to give it some time. We'll see what happens. More than likely, we've got about 10 days before that happens. All right, so now let's take a look at Bitcoin. All right, Bitcoin on the hourly. Let's just take a look at this little guy. Okay, so let me see if I've got my Bollinger Bands on here. I do not have Bollinger Bands. Let me just throw that on here real quick. Bollinger Bands. All right, I'm going to show you how I like to put my Bollinger Bands on here. I don't really care about the upper, I don't care about the lower. I do like to keep the basis, which is just a 20 simple moving average, that's all it is. The background, I do like to have a good background on here, so I'm going to just increase the opacity there, and just so I can see where it is, and I want to see the range. I like to see the width, and I like to watch it squeeze. I'm on a 1 hour time frame. I'm going to move to a 30-minute here. Okay, so from this, I do believe that we've got an indication that we have a 1, A, B, C, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think this is a 1, 2, maybe this is the completion of the move, but I tend to believe that it's probably not finishing yet. Taking a trend base from the top here to the bottom here, we get our pullback. We did come pretty deep, and even if I go onto a linear scale, we did go pretty deep on this guy, which is why I think this is a 3. I'm conflicted because we did violate this low here. So this is why I'm kind of curious if this is something else going on, if this is the possibility that this is an A, B, C. My only problem is this went pretty deep. I actually think that we're not done correcting yet. I think we're probably going to go lower. Something that I like to do on Bitcoin on a 30-minute time frame is watch for the reactions on the 30-minute Bollinger Band. Okay, because typically what you'll see is you'll see a rejection on the upper and then a retest of the lower, or a support at the lower and a retest of the upper. And it really works the best when you've got just kind of ranging. So you've got the upper and then you get a retest of the lower eventually. Then you get the lower, you get a retest of the upper. You get a test of the lower, and then a retest of the upper. The lower, the upper, right? And then eventually found some support here at the median. It found itself moving up, right? So, you can only play this in ranging markets. And I think we're in the middle of that same range. So probably this guy is going to come back down here, probably a 13,487, 30,487 to 30,500 before it finally does kind of move up again. Probably are going to move sideways here for a while. I do think that eventually it will break down, so I would favor shorts for the moment. We're talking short term here, right? Because if we're going to take this, and let's say this was A, B, C. Let's say that was an A, B, C. Then we're basically looking at this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, and then maybe we do, find ourselves up here. But taking ourselves up there, we're going to be taking a look at the 100, which is going to be right down here for the wave 4, which is going to be at about 25.8. Maybe we find ourselves down here, which lines up pretty well with this fib level, which is going to be potentially right down here at 24,000, 24,100. That would be very interesting if that were to happen. And let's just see where that's coming from. So measuring from this 2 to the wave 3, what we've got right there is the 618, the 618. So we've got a lot of support here coming down. 26.2 seems like that best place to be buying, but it is possible we do find ourselves down here at the 618. So you have to keep that in your mind. I can take a look at Ethereum. Yes, let's go ahead and do that. Ethereum versus the dollar here. All right, so I put this red box here when I did my video last week. I'm going to go off the 30 and I'm going to go to a 2-hour here. And just remove some of this stuff that I've got just to kind of clean up the chart a little bit, because we were trying to project upside targets up at about 1250. I still think 1250 is on the cards, just for the record. So we've got our 1, 2, and I actually think the 3, it's more than likely here, 4, and then we have an extension here into the 5th. All right, so I'm actually going to remove this guy to the 5th, which would complete this 5th. So a good extension here into the 3rd. Then, if Bitcoin's going to come down a little bit, I think Ethereum is probably going to do the same thing, come back down. But I still think ultimately we are going to find ourselves up here at 1250. I still think 1250 is a good upside target. So I'm going to keep my eyes up here on 1250. After we hit that, I think we are going to find a deeper pullback, right? And Ethereum has been stronger versus Bitcoin, so this is why I think this is more than likely what's going to happen. And I'm going to go to an hourly for a moment. I think that we are creating what looks like a flag for a wave 4. So watch this guy to come back down, maybe retest these lows here at about 900 before it does find itself some direction up here to that 1250. Now, keeping in mind, this is still on a very bullish trend where we're talking about this potentially going up to $2,000, right? Things don't go in one direction, even though it looks like they did over the last, couple days. But look at this. We spent months just kind of moving sideways here, right? So things don't always just move straight up. We obviously had a markup phase here, which I think we're probably going to consolidate, move sideways here. Maybe we compress a little bit inside this red box, which again, that red box has been there. I didn't just put that there. Probably going to move sideways, compress in here, find ourselves that move, that pop up to 1250. Maybe we go higher. Maybe we go to 1500. It's possible. But I think by June, we're going to see really, really crazy price action on Ethereum. I think it's probably going to triple its market share versus Bitcoin. So just keeping in mind that that is more than likely what's going to happen. I think 2021 is going to be a good year for alts, and we're already starting to see some signs of that. So I feel pretty good about this this price action here. Also, the other thing, Doge is still doing pretty well. It's still sitting here at 30. It spiked up to 42, which, looking at the daily, man, I mean, we timed this very, very well. Let me look at this on a different exchange. Let's look at it on Bittrex. All right, so we bought Doge at 18 satoshis. So we bought it. I mean, it was probably it was back here because it had one mini pump. Second mini pump we didn't sell. We did sell up here though. Right, so we did sell on that pump, just kind of waiting. But with Doge, if this guy can get up to 80 or 100 satoshis, I mean, you better be ready to buy some alts because it's going to happen. So I do like altcoins more than I like Bitcoin right now. For Bitcoin, I would be looking at some shorter term short positions because I do think we're going to be ranging for maybe even a couple weeks here. But I'm going to be looking to buy that dip when we do get it. It's going to be below 30K. It's probably going to be closer to 25 to 26. Don't know if we're going to retest 20K just quite yet. We will retest it at some point. I don't think it's going to be here yet. Just my opinion on that. Anyway, that's what I've got for you right now. If this video did help in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share. If you need access to our Discord, just look at the video description. You'll get a link there. Throw me a comment. And of course, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day. Good night.